Seeker. It is Saturday, September 16th, 2023. RFK Jr. in Los Angeles, where his father was assassinated in 1968. And today they're treating it like it was a little bit of an assassination scare. An armed 44-year-old man was arrested for impersonating RFK Jr.'s security detail. And I want you to see how perfect this ritual is and how it is perfectly synced with June 5th of next year, which will be the 56th anniversary of RFK being shot on the campaign trail by Sirhan Sirhan. Again, and let's not forget that when RFK Jr. officially filed to run for president, explained how that date paid tribute to the assassination of his father as well as JFK. And this 44-year-old man's being held on $35,000 bail. Again, JFK was number 35 and the 44th term president. But look at this. Undeniable. So from today, 16th, to June 5th next year, it'll be killed in an election year, shot on June. But from September 16th to that day is 263 days, which is the 56th prime number. And of course, this is a big pattern with the Jesuits who serve the Roman Catholic Church, which the Kennedy family is a member of. And look at the man who's said to have been arrested impersonating the security detail. His name is Adrian Paul Espero, which equals 263. And live, and I didn't even have that detail in about the man's name because it's just, I was just going to tell you about how it was 263 days, the 56th prime, and then, yeah, right, the Matrix just texted 44 years old, so I was like, oh, I didn't see that. So I checked the latest headlines, and then there it was, the name, and just another undeniable ritual. And what have we been saying about RFK Jr.? Again, he talks a good game, but it's obvious that he's a Jesuit puppet. And people with cognitive dissonance, like my mother, they just can't accept it because like so many people need some hero. Donald Trump, another Jesuit puppet. Joe Biden. All of these people are on the Jesuit puppet strings, and it's why every single thing they do lines. So here, let's go over the rest. Catholic this is 263 days before his father's assassination anniversary, and it'll be the 56th anniversary next year, the number of the Jesuits. And by the way, Gavin Newsom, the scumbag out there who locked down California because he said 56% we're going to get coronavirus in 56 days. Again, that's exactly what he said, except for he said 8 weeks, which is 56 days. Gavin Newsom, for the record, is also 56. Might be the Democratic frontrunner, which would not shock me at age 56. We'll see, But anyway, and keep in mind, June 5th can also be written 5/6, right? Another thing that's Jesuit controlled, just like how the Black Panther Party was a Jesuit creation, so is Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter equals 56. Remember, they painted that on the streets of D.C. on June 5th in 2020, 5/6. Anyway, 44-year-old man, if you're new here, that's the number of shootings. Shooting equals 44, gunfire 44, mass shooter 44, kill 44, execution 44. Big number. Again, JFK was number 35, but the 44th term president. And the word Catholic, for the record, is 35. So are the initials RFK. Again, they're saying this man's K bail. So you can see it right there on the New York Post headline or story, that he's age 44 on 35,000 bail. From RFK's 117 birthday to today is his 243rd day of his age. Remember, Central Intelligence Agency equals 243 the big way, 117 the small way. He was at the Wilshire Ebel Theater when this happened, which also equals 117. Of his father being shot in 68. Today has 68 date numerology, 9 plus 16 plus 20 plus 23, 68. And CIA has that gematria as 68. Remember, the CIA was created in the huge Jesuit ritual on September 18th, 47, so we're just a couple of days from the CIA's birthday, and that'll be Monday, and I'm sure it'll be a day about the same number patterns, but RFK was giving his Hispanic heritage speech, which I don't know why he's doing because he's not Hispanic, but the gematria of Hispanic heritage speech is 118, like Dallas, Texas. 118, a number of death. And you know what? Actually, to add on to, not only does Dallas, Texas equal 118, so does Los Angeles, California. LA's on the 118th meridian west. LA's birthday is September 4th, which is the day leaving 118 days left in the year. So they lined it all up here. They're hitting every number they can that pays tribute to history. 59th day, 259, that's what the Kennedys are, Roman Catholic. Today's 103 days after the last anniversary of his father being shot. Jesuits is 103. To the day that he announced or officially filed the paperwork to run, that was April 5th. And like we talked about that day, here's my post from April 5th. Ambassador equals 50, written 5/4. Where JFK was shot, Dealey words 54 in reverse. The date can be written 4/5 or 5/4. And of course, the Jesuit order, which is 54. Remember, the word son is 54, and they're a sun cult. And John Kerry, Jesuit University, Georgetown at age 54, and then recently scumbag Anthony Fauci, who's another 56, another Jesuit educated at Holy Cross. When Georgetown picked him up and made him a member of his, they had to write up at the top for Georgetown that they're adding Anthony Fauci to their staff after his 54 years of public service. From Kennedy's birthday to the day he announced was 78 days. Or the day he found Kennedy is 78, like Jesuit. Kennedy also 111, like Children's Health Defense. Remember last year, the dead Kennedy's drummer died 100 in a big 111 ritual at age 63, like JFK assassinated in age 63, or in the year 63, excuse me. And we know what happened this year in the big Jesuit assassination down in Ecuador. The man who was killed, who was born in 63, birthday. After a day of me talking about this same thing all day, this same point that I'm about to make right now. Hold on. I'll make the point, then we'll bring it back to what they did in Ecuador. So the Superior General Arturo Sosa, he's the leader of the Jesuits. His birthday is November 12th. The day office, April 5th, was 144 days after his birthday. Jesuit Order 144. JFK died 144 days from meeting with the Pope on July 2nd. And then died RFK. They said he died at 1:44 a.m. June 6th. And I want you to just see the name Robert Kennedy in gematria. The big way, it's 156, like how he was shot on the 156th day of the year. And then the small, like how he supposedly died on June 6th. And notice Robert Kennedy's 69 in reverse. That's how old RFK Jr. is right now. 69, as they pay this tribute to history in LA, where his dad supposedly died. And again, I mean, who knows if these people are even really dying as perfect as all this theater is. Remember, his dad had just... Here's another sick joke, you guys. You see how gun control's 139, like the last major gun control legislation in this nation was a 94 on 13/9? RFK had just given a speech about how crazy people shouldn't be allowed to own guns. And then he got shot just days later by supposedly a crazy person. But it was exactly 139 days after his assassination that the gun control legislation passed. And that was also, you see how the Jesuit order is 201? That was also 201 days after MLK's assassination. MLK was killed on the 95th day of 1968. It was a leap year. It was April 4th, 68, 44, like shootings 44, like how they say this guy's 44 years old. The guy impersonating RFK's staff. But from MLK's assassination to the major gun control, 201 days later. And again, huge number with the history of the Jesuits is 201. Remember, from Martin Luther pinning the 95 Theses to the establishment of the Jesuits was 201 months later. Right now we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201. It's a number that goes all throughout the Jesuit history. Everything they did in 68 were huge Jesuit rituals. Again, assassinating Martin Luther King Jr. on the 95th day of the year, like how Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses against the Catholic Church. This year, April 5th was the 95th day of the year, the day that RFK filed, the same RFK who led his anti-mandate march in D.C. on Georgetown's birthday, the nation's first Jesuit university. And again, understand, I'm not against RFK having that kind of rally in meeting. I'm just making the point that he's controlled opposition, and the reason he did it on Georgetown's birthday is because he's a Jesuit puppet. And honestly, what they were probably doing is probably testing out all their new surveillance and camera technology and seeing how many faces in the crowd they can. If you guys remember, it's getting close to a decade ago now that they unveiled, it was in the news like right after New Year's. It's in the time I've been doing this work, and it was at the earlier part. So I want to say it was close to 10 years ago now. But it was a big news story about how the camera in Times Square, way zoomed out, could capture the whole crowd down there for when they dropped the ball. But then when they zoom in on that camera, you could literally see everyone's face with complete clarity. So it's a picture that can, just like how if you take a picture from far away on your phone and then you zoom in on it, like, have you guys ever done that in public? Like, you can't read the sign because it's too far away, but then you take the picture and zoom in and then you can read it? Again, that's where cameras are now. I imagine at the RFK rally, probably testing out the surveillance technology, building their database. And I'm not saying that's the reason to not go up and show out these things. I'm just saying that that's the reason they're doing it on the Georgetown's birthday. And that's the reason every little thing RFK is doing is a perfect Jesuit ritual. Again, these people are not to be trusted. If RFK was legitimate, he'd be promoting my work right now. If RFK was legitimate, again, I know he put out the book, The Real Anthony Fauci. If you guys have read my book, Number Games 9/11, if you read his book, it really does seem that he borrowed the ideas and concepts and arguments of my book, which came out a couple years before his. And his book is great. If you haven't read his book, I mean, it's hard to read because the font's so small, but it has a lot of good information in it. But it really does seem that he used a lot of the methods and the parallels that I did. But what's funny is, who did he give credit? Who did he say was his inspiration for that book from social media? He gave credit to the redhead guy, J.P. Sears, who already gets to go on Fox News. Like, where's J.P. Sears been comparing 9/11 to coronavirus? And anyway, it's because all these guys are in the club. The reason you'll never see me on Fox News is because I'm not in the club. These guys in the club. So, yeah. And again, when I show this to my mom, it'll just all bounce off her because she can't accept this. She needs to believe in RFK Jr. She needs someone to believe in. Once upon a time, it was Bernie Sanders and Dennis Kucinich and Ross Perot. And none of these people are bad people to believe in. It's just you got to stop believing in these little puppets they put up there. And now Dennis Kucinich is running. Yeah, they got to have voices of reason out there to provide hope for the hopeless, but these people are not on our side. So, what a joke. You got here late. This comes 263 days, which is the 56th prime number, before the 56th anniversary of his father's assassination in LA, where this just happened. And the man who provided the scare, his name just happens to be 263 in Gematria. I was just about to go live without even that detail in the story. I just grabbed that one at the last second. So it's just icing on the cake. Don't forget, the CIA was established on the 201st day of the Pope's age, and the words in the CIA's logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, 201. Again, we're 2 days from their birthday. See what the market does on Monday. On the CIA's birthday, as we approach fall. But, yeah. Shame on these people, man. Willing actors and the ongoing puppet show to dupe people. And ultimately what RFK is doing is legitimizing elections. And, again, people should be out. If RFK Jr. was legit, he'd be out talking about how illegitimate the election system is and why people should not vote and abstain and shut this fraud down. But he's not going to do that. He's part of this powerful politically connected family that's forever in the Washington, D.C. federal machine. And he might supposedly be the black sheep of the family and have good things to say, but at the end of the day, he's also, again, a part of the machine that needs to be shut down. So, isn't it funny, though, how we just prove our points every single day around here? Most timely YouTube channel there ever was. We see all this stuff coming a mile away, and that's why we've been forecasting the future accurately for a decade. So, all right. All right. Yeah, for all the sports fanatics, I'll be on the Patreon soon, and we'll leave it there for now. Thanks to everyone who hits the like and the share. Till next time.